All right, well, it is the end of the day. I am about to go for a workout, which I'm kind of forcing myself to do tonight. I have had on my mind the idea of abundance versus scarcity. That is a very trendy topic right now among people who work in self help and psychology and things like that. I'm not even going to claim to know who coined that term, where it came from, but I know that it's kind of crossed my path on a number of occasions. And right now, I am poised to go on vacation tomorrow. And going on vacation for me is kind of a new. I've gone on vacations, but this kind of vacation feels like a bit of an indulgence to me. I'm going on a yoga retreat with some friends. It's a women's yoga retreat, and so it's a little bit of a different kind of vacation that I've done before because the only person really benefiting from it is me, um, and that sounds so strange to hear myself say, but I have really not given a ton of thought to the idea of do I see the world with an abundance model or do I see it with a scarcity model? I think that I've vacillated in between. A person that sees the world and makes decisions based on the abundance model is doing that with the idea that there's an abundance of things in the world for us, and that if we put ourselves in the right position to ask for those things and to seek those things, that they're just going to come. That might mean money, that might mean love, friendship, whatever it might mean. And the scarcity model is kind of the opposite, which is the kind of viewpoint that there's not enough in the world and I must protect what I have and make decisions based on the idea that I may not have enough and that there's no real assurance that I'm going to have enough. And there are pros and cons to making decisions on, for both of those ways of looking at things. I think that I was raised by parents who had the mindset of a scarcity model, but behaved in a way that was kind of contrary to that. I've always been raised with money being a little bit of a stressor. And then in the last few years of my marriage, we had tremendous financial stress. My husband opened a business with my blessing. It was really a family business. And we made decisions around a lot of those things, around my work and his work, that were, in hindsight, maybe not the best decisions. That's a real complicated topic for me, very emotion laden, so I won't go too much into that. But for really the last 6 years or so, I've just been really in a state of anxiety. And if I ever go out of town, I've often been really terrified that I might not have enough money. It was just, there was a lot of anxiety and fear around money. And when I did eventually divorce, I had to I was starting over. There was a lot of pain and anxiety over being a woman who was on my own. And that was scary to me. And right at the same time that my marriage was definitively over, which was a long process. But when that happened, I also lost a job that was a salaried position. And so there was a lot of fear and anxiety and kind of existential angst over how am I going to make it. And I made the decision, as I've talked about before, to be self-employed because at the time I came to the understanding that for my own emotional well-being, I needed to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. I mean, I always had, but in the wake of this part of my life, I needed to show myself that I could do it. I needed the independence that comes from being self-employed to kind of do the grieving that I had to do and the recalibrating that I needed to do to kind of get through this really difficult period. And I was fortunate and privileged that I had that choice, and I say that very sincerely. I recognize that, that I had that ability to work on my own, and it was scary. It's been really scary. I've spent the first 2 years of my life self-employed, the last 2 years with a survival mentality, and I've survived. And I've thrived even. Money is always, maybe not always, but it's still a stressor for me. It's not, I don't have necessarily an abundance of it, but my mindset has changed a lot, which is that I am going to continue to seek the success that I want for myself, which is not like the success that other people would say. Success for me just means peace in my mind and my heart around money. Not that I have a lot of it, as I'll never have a lot of it as a social worker, but but I've not had a lot of peace around money. So that's my goal. And I want to expand the kind of work that I want to do. And it does take an idea that work is out there. Not that it's scarce, but that it's out there for me to seek if I do the right things, if I put myself out there, if I market myself, if I talk about my work, if I reach out to people and I don't just stay isolated. And I've also tried to treat myself in the same way. I've spent money on things these last couple of years I would never have spent money on. Working with a coach. I am taking a yoga retreat. I am spending money on yoga classes in town. I bought tickets to the Telluride Bluegrass Festival in June. That was an extravagance to me, but I've always wanted to go, and I've never been. And so I feel like if I'm going to work my ass off, which I do, then I'm going to try to show myself that I can take care of myself on the other side. And again, to try not to feed the anxiety that comes from living under a scarcity model, but instead to feed the hope and positivity that comes from an abundance model and way of thinking. And so that's what's on my mind today as I'm about to go on this really, it's a short trip. It's really not actually that much of an extravagance. It's pretty reasonably priced, but it does make me a little anxious. I'm leaving my computer here, which is anathema to me. I'm always with my computer. It makes me really anxious, but I've made that decision that I'm going to do that. And so I'm trying to do a lot today and tonight. And sleep might be a challenge for me tonight, so I'm going to do a progressive muscle relaxation exercise, and I'm going to do just a snippet of that in this video, and maybe I'll do a longer recording like I'm intending to do for some of the other things I've done here. And so a progressive muscle relaxation is actually similar to what we do in a body scan, but it's actually a determined clenching and releasing of muscles in sequence. And so I'm going to do just a brief one of those here. But before I do that, the song that's on my mind is the Dave Matthews Band. Kind of continuing with my old school. I am old school. So another old school choice, Dave Matthews, The Best of What's Around, which is really about abundance. And again, abundance is not about things or material things or money. It's about the abundance of good feelings, the abundance of love, the abundance of looking around and seeing what you have and what you're grateful for, not necessarily what you don't have, which would be a scarcity model way of thinking. Anyway, that song kind of represents that to me. It's a fun song, and it came to mind earlier today when I was thinking about these things. The Best of What's Around by Dave Matthews is going to be next on my playlists, and I'll do a quick muscle relaxation exercise. I am under a bit of a time crunch with my night right now, but like I said, I'm determined to get my videos done, so here I am. If you want to play along with this really brief demonstration of a PMR, which is what it's called, Progressive Muscle Relaxation, feel free to put your computer or phone down and just listen to my voice. As always, you want to start with your breath, sitting up straight, but this exercise can definitely be done laying down, and if you're using it to help you get ready for sleep and to relax, then certainly that's a great way to do it. But I'm only going to do a couple of muscle groups just to demonstrate what this is about, but you could literally do every single muscle group. There's a multitude that you have in your body, obviously. You can start with your forehead, go to your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your fingers, clenching, unclenching, your back, your chest, obviously your diaphragm, your core, your booty. The gluteus muscles are abundant. The thigh muscles, really great place to tense and release. The shins and the calves, and then even your toes. So you could do a full PMR, which takes a long time. I'm just going to do a couple of muscle groups here real quick, just to show what it's about. So first I'm going to do the forehead. I think I'll do the forehead. It's a good place to start. It's hard for me to do this and talk about it at the same time, but we're going to hold, clench for 5 counts and release for 5 counts. So we're going to start with the forehead. Now I want you to just, if you're playing along, I want you to just furrow your brow, and you could even do like this. You can lift your eyebrows, or you can just kind of do like this, but whatever you can do to feel tension in your forehead. You can just kind of play around with that, but try to make it as tense as you can. I'm going to count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to release it. I want you to release your forehead like it's made of water, and it's just drifting and calm and soft. It does help to keep your eyes closed for this exercise, so you can try to visualize whatever helps you to visualize softness. I'm going to do it again. It's good to do each muscle group twice. Forehead, clench it for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now release it. Just let it soften. It may help, like I'm doing, to put your fingertips on that part of your body and just feel it soften, or you can just let your hands lay down in your lap by your sides. If I were doing this in sequence, I would do the jaw next, but I'm going to skip over the shoulders because that's a really good one. So let's tense our shoulders. I'm going to count to 5. Pull your shoulders up by your ears. Feel those muscles as tense as you can make them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just let them hang. Let them hang like they're just not attached to your body. Breathe, using all your lung capacity if possible, and just feel your shoulders as soft as they can be. Just like they're made of melted butter. That's a really strange little visualization. Let's do it again. Count to 5. Clench your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let them hang loose. Soften. Relax. Just feel with your eyes closed what it feels to have soft shoulders that just hang and are supported by your upper back. So there's 2 muscle groups, but you could do so many. And again, this exercise is really useful for sleep. There's something powerful about clenching and releasing that can kind of help calm your body in such a way that prepares it well for sleep. But obviously you can do little pieces of this throughout your day, especially those parts of you that you've already identified as being tending toward tension. So, okay, well, tomorrow I'll be in Mexico, but I will do a video at some point during the day.